Okay, so I basically just wanted to share with you guys some things that I learned at convention. If you want to take notes, you can. I can also just send you my notes via email if you want. Um, but basically, I'm going to talk about just some quick stats that we learned about Plexus, talk about some of the stuff that we learned with the keynote speaker, which deals with like self-development, and then basically what I learned in the silver training, which all really comes from the new success kit. So I'm going to just kind of read straight from my notes, but some quick stats, and these are good that numbers and stuff that you can share with potentials that you're talking to, or if you have people on your team. So in 2008, there were only 575 Plexus ambassadors. And today there are over 437,000. So obviously we're doing something right, that the numbers have grown that much in just 7-8 years. A cool thing that we learned was that Plexus reinvests 40% of their pre-tax profits back into the company. So they're essentially investing in the company to help invest in us and all of the resources that they give us. And later on in the call, I'm going to go through some new exciting things that are coming around the bend. If you didn't see us posting them on Facebook, I'll recap that as well. The Success Kit, do all of you have that? Yeah. Okay. So that actually won an award. It won a national award. I forget what the organization was, but obviously that they took enough time and effort into making it condensed and down to everything that we need to know. So basically a lot of this past week, especially the silver training that I was in, everything that they talked about is in that success kit. So if you have it, and I'll touch on some things that you can revisit later on just to relook at everything, because it really opened my eyes to a lot of stuff that I might not have necessarily thought about before. So a big thing with being in any network marketing company and in Plexus, having confidence to share the opportunity, to share the products is a big deal. If you don't feel like you know what you're talking about, sometimes you might not necessarily feel that people will buy into you or believe you and then won't believe in Plexus. So they had a lady named Rita Davenport, and you guys can look her up. She's awesome, super funny. Apparently she's best friends with Dolly Parton. She wrote a song about her apparently, but she's just a sassy old lady. She's hilarious. And she talked a lot about like self-worth, affirmations, and things like that. So just a few things that she said that really struck home with me and all of us, is that it's not about why you got into Plexus. It's about what happens when Plexus gets into you and makes you passionate. So I know in the beginning, everyone always asks you what your why is. So if you haven't written that down before, or if you maybe it's changed a little bit since you first started, you always want to revisit that, because that kind of brings it back to why you're doing this. Whether it's you wanting to get healthy, or you wanting to help other people, you want to make extra money, whatever it is, just always remember that is what is making you do this. And then she also said that it's going to cost you nothing to dream, but it's going to cost you everything if you don't. So if you don't go after your dreams, if you don't reach out to that person that you're thinking about messaging about the opportunity or the products, you never know. Maybe they're the perfect person. Maybe they're just looking for something like Plexus to change their life. And if you don't approach them and ask them, someone else might, and then you'll be sitting there probably like, man, I wanted to ask her like 6 months ago and I didn't. And then she says to get your ask in gear. So ASK, not ASS. But it costs you nothing to ask people to join your business or to talk to them about the products. you don't have anything to lose except for them saying no to you. And I know sometimes early on that might discourage you, but the whole idea is to go for no, and that you're planting the seed with people. And usually when they say no, it's usually not no forever. It's just, no, I don't have enough information, or no, not right now. So just don't ever feel discouraged when you get no's, because that happens to everybody. And one of the Diamonds actually spoke and gave a great story about that too. And I think it's on YouTube, so I'll share that with you guys also. She says, work smart, not always necessarily harder, because in network marketing, and especially Plexus, there are people who are above us, who are successful, who have done the right things. So just taking what they're doing and implementing them yourself. So not trying to invent the wheel. So copy and pasting posts from people and just kind of tweaking them a little bit to your audience is really helpful. And then she says, may your life someday be as perfect as you pretend it is on Facebook. Don't make Facebook wastebook, and don't waste your time pretending to be what you're not. So just because, so she gave an example of like the McCalls, or because they're really funny and outgoing. So if you're not that type of a person, even though we all would like to be like them, your friends are going to know, and your Facebook audience is going to know that you're really not being genuine, because that's not you. So find what works for you and just be yourself, basically. And then the last thing she said was to remember that your why has to be bigger than your why not. So no dream is too big or too silly. It always has to be there, and you could just keep pushing. So even if you take baby steps, even if it takes you 5 years to reach emeralds, like that's huge, because that paycheck that you're going to be getting in 5 years, if it takes you that long, is probably more than you would be making at whatever job you're at now, if that is your goal, to reach the higher ranks. So always remember that your why is why you're doing this, and kind of brings you back to everything if you're getting discouraged or whatnot. So that was Rita. And then, so I'll talk about Edge. I was talking about that in the beginning before we started recording. So basically, everybody is in a personal energy crisis these days. People are moody, exhausted, and the number one health concern among Americans is tiredness and fatigue. Statistics say that 85% of us wake up feeling tired, 50% don't get 8 hours of sleep, and then 1 in 3 people feel energy levels need improvement. So obviously Plexus did research on this, and they felt that we needed another product to kind of add to the mix. And since this is the number one health concern of people, why not? So people also see a drop in mental alertness between 1 and 4 p.m. So Edge helps you keep sustained energy. It helps with sharper thinking, improved mood. It enhances your concentration and focus. Mm-hmm. So it's way better for you than energy drinks or soda or anything like that. It's just a capsule, just like Accelerator or Boost. So you don't have to drink anything. And the ingredients that are in this product are huge, and they took a lot of time and effort to get the right ingredient mix down. So, and I can send this to you guys, but the 2 ingredients besides the 2 active ingredients besides the caffeine is teacrine, which helps with not having you feel that jittery feeling, and it also helps with not forming a habit to caffeine like most energy drinks and stuff do. And it also helps to not disrupt your sleep. So essentially you could probably take this at 6 o'clock and not have any problem going to bed at night. And then it also has an ingredient called theanine, which reduces the sensitivity to caffeine. So that's also great. And synthetic caffeine, which is in energy drinks, you probably see more sensitivity to that than you do in this product, although people who typically don't consume caffeine, they could also be a little bit sensitive to this as well. So when you're talking about Edge to potentials or customers already, just kind of ask them questions like, do you consume caffeine right now? How many energy drinks or coffee or caffeinated products you consume a day, just to kind of see if this is something that could really help them. And the cost on this is super cheap. So at our price, ambassador pricing, it's like 88 cents a day. Where can you get something that's actually healthy for you that gives you sustained energy all day long? That's 88 cents. And then even at preferred pricing, it's only $1. So Red Bull, Monster, those are at least $2-3. So I know that this product is awesome and can help reach people who might not necessarily have thought about Plexus before. And the fact that it's a lot more affordable, because I know that we always hear that Plexus is expensive, which we really know that it's not now, looking at everything. But if you just tell somebody they can get 30 capsules of this, they take it once a day for $30, that seems a lot more reasonable. And this can hopefully open up the door to get them to trying some of our other products too. So it isn't really the same as Boost and Accelerator, because those, while they have caffeine in them, they have way less caffeine, and they're actually more for weight loss and reaching weight loss plateaus and all of that, versus Edge is just strictly energy related. And then the second product, Block, which everybody was super excited about. Before, you had to take it at least 30 minutes before you ate your biggest meal of the day, and now you can take it instantly and it works, which is awesome. They actually had a dessert reception at convention, and they gave away like a little packet of Block for you to take before you actually ate your dessert, which was really funny. Okay. Questions about Edge? No? Okay. And so now I'm going to talk about the silver training. So we had 3 trainers. So we had Sarah Marble, who's a diamond. We had Rebecca Folks, who's a diamond, and Sheila Medina, who's a diamond also. And they each talked about different things. So Sarah Marble basically just talked about how you talk about Plexus to potentials. So if people ask you what you do and you want to tell them about Plexus, but you might not be sure what to say, she encourages people to come up with like a 30 to 45 second elevator speech. So basically, instead of vomiting Plexus all over this person and freaking them out, an example that she gave to say was, I provide people with the opportunity to improve their health and wealth. Which would you like to hear about first? So just keep it simple. And notice that she didn't mention Plexus in her response either. So that can open the door more for an ongoing conversation. And she gave some other examples too that I can share with you guys later. So basically, when you talk about Plexus to people, she gave the 20-20-60 rule. So 20% of people are going to say no, just because. 20% are going to say yes, because they're looking for the products or the opportunity. And then 60% of them could go either way. She said the best thing to do is to be good with active listening, because people are out there and they're struggling. And sometimes Plexus might be the answer to a prayer that they're having about health issues or financial issues. or things like that. So always be an active listener when talking to people. So ask the right questions, just try to get as much information out of them as you can, and then you can kind of see where you need to go with the conversation. And a thing that I thought was really awesome, so in the success kit, the product cards that are in there, so Sarah mentioned that even though she's a diamond, she doesn't know everything. She probably will never know everything about Plexus and all the products, but she says that she keeps those product cards in her purse, and she actually told a funny story on the way to convention. She was on the plane next to a random stranger, and they just started having a conversation, and it turned into Plexus, and she pulled out the product cards from her purse and actually was letting that lady go through the cards, and the lady was writing down the products that she thought would work for her or her husband or some friends that she knew. So she says that it's always a good idea to have those product cards on you. And I never really thought about that. I carry my planner with me everywhere, so I'm actually going to put those in my planner now, just in case. And if you haven't looked at those cards, they actually have some good talking points about the different products, the pricing on there and everything. So everything you need is right there on those cards, which is huge. And then when you, jumping back to the elevator speech, really quick, and when you're talking to people, she says to think about where you were before Plexus. So description, symptoms you were having, what your mood was like, what you were missing out on, what you couldn't do, and then compare it to where you are now and what Plexus has done for you. So if you type something up in a message that you're trying to share with your potentials, you can kind of think about those things to help you. And that also goes along with compliance, how we're not really allowed to say specific disease names just because the FDA and stuff is cracking down. But she made a good point that if you use specific disease names when you share your story, people might not know what that is. And if you can use more vague descriptions like feeling tired or having digestive issues or whatnot, people might be able to relate more, even though it might not be that they're having the same issues that you are with a certain condition. It kind of opens the door up for more relatability. So stick to using broad symptoms and descriptions because people can relate to those more. She also talked about being an active listener and watching for open door opportunities. So just in passing, if you hear somebody having a conversation at work about how they're feeling super tired or they're not sleeping well at night, that is an open door opportunity for you to talk about Plexus. You don't have to be pushy and salesy about it, but you can say, oh, hey, I heard that you're feeling tired or you're not able to sleep at night. I take this awesome product and it's helped me sleep better, blah, blah, blah. So just kind of listen for those types of things because no people will ever have the same results on our products or have the same need. And you don't want to wait to share because we are the messenger and we're not the message. So with, like I talked about earlier, with people joining Plexus more frequently now that we have nearly 500,000 ambassadors, there's probably somebody within the person you're talking to's network that also sells Plexus, but they haven't approached them yet. So don't ever wait to share. And if you do share the opportunity and they say no or maybe later, then that's fine. At least you've planted the seed with them. So that was basically the gist of what Sarah Marble talked about. And Sheila Medina focused mostly on how to share the Plexus opportunity. And she really encouraged people to do online informational events or sip and sees, which we're trying to do more of here. And she basically uses the success guide and the welcome kit and the opportunity brochure to kind of lead those meetings. So make sure you look back on those, especially, I think she says in the first chapter of the success guide. She also mentioned to always be listening more than you talk. And then everything begins by establishing a relationship with somebody. So that's why we say we're in the market of relationship marketing or relationship building, because we don't want to come off as salesy to people. So always try to build a relationship with people. If you're following up with somebody and maybe the last time you followed up with them, you were talking about Plexus, and they said they were going to order from you and they didn't, well, maybe this time just try reaching out to them and just asking them about their day. Check out their Facebook page maybe before you actually message them. Maybe you saw that they went to Kings Island with their kids or something, and you can mention that in the message so they actually know that you care about what's going on in their life and you're not just trying to sell Plexus to them. And then the biggest thing that we come across is handling objections. So she mentioned these top objections or things that people are afraid of when they first get into Plexus. So people say, I could never sell anything. And she says her response is to say that our most successful ambassadors have never sold anything before, because we like to say that we share and we don't sell. People say they don't have time. And she says you can respond with, well, if you could find time, is this something that you could see yourself doing or enjoying? Which is a nice open-ended question. And then people say, I could never speak in front of a group. And she says to respond with, well, there are many ways to share the products or the opportunity. Do you enjoy the product enough to just to talk to one person? And then if people respond back to you with they have to think about it, they're not sure, then you can respond with saying, what are some of the key areas you are considering? Can we make a pro and con list together? I can help you with that. So obviously they're on the fence and they're leaning more toward Plexus, either the opportunity or the products. So just kind of help them figure out what they're leaning more towards and see if you can help them make a list of maybe what is holding them back versus what they really like about it. And then the number one thing that we usually get with the business is that it's a pyramid scheme. And she says to say, no, it's not. Pyramids are illegal. It sounds like you might have had a bad experience. That's a shame. Plexus isn't like that, which is true. So people, and there are a lot of people who spoke at convention who came from previous network marketing companies, and they mentioned that the way that Plexus does things is not the way that it's done in these other companies. And we always say that Plexus does network marketing the way it should be done, but rarely is. And it's really true. And then closing the conversation. So you're talking to somebody and they're thinking about either signing or purchasing products. And you can say, let's take the next step to get you signed up today and start your Plexus journey. For somebody who's leaning toward the business opportunity, you could say, let's get you started with your plan B. Everybody needs a plan B. So for me, Plexus is my plan B essentially, because I have a full-time job and then I also do Plexus to make extra money each month. And then a good thing that she mentioned was to ask people, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about starting the products or the business? Which is nice because you know if they're like an 8, 9, or 10, you know the things that you should say to them. And if they're a little bit lower down on the scale, you know the different questions that you could ask them. Okay, so we're going to move to social media. Rebecca Folks talked about that. So she mentioned that our target demographic for Plexus is 25 to 45-year-old women, which I didn't know necessarily, which is interesting. And being active on social media is not an option, especially when you are sharing something like Plexus, if you're in a network marketing opportunity, because social media is everywhere and it's the easiest way to connect with people. And posting on social media is the most personal and strategic way that you can work your business, because everybody always has their phone in their hand and they're always updating their statuses and they're always posting and sharing things on Facebook. So everybody is glued to social media. So basically she says that you are your brand. The way people see you is the way that they're going to see Plexus. So always being positive on your Facebook. I know everybody has bad days, but not airing your dirty laundry on Facebook is probably a good thing to do anyway, not to do anyways, even if you're not trying to promote a business. So she says to have who you are in your bio of your social media site. You can look at mine. I updated it to say a few things about Plexus, that I'm a dog mom and everything like that. So you should think about doing that with yours. So, and that's public. So even if people come across your profile and they're not friends with you, they can still see that you're a Plexus ambassador, you're a mom, or you're an alumni of a certain college or whatnot. So you are making Plexus, or what Plexus looks like, and everyone's going to be different because no two people are the same. And she said to be genuine and authentic, and if something that you're posting isn't necessarily your voice or what you would say to people in person, you probably shouldn't be doing that, because people will think that you're being fake or not yourself. And if you're unsure of your Plexus voice on social media, you can follow some jewels and watch what they're doing and pick out what you can relate to. So she gave the examples of the McCalls, who are crazy, quirky, funny, outgoing, Christy Hull, Emily Roberts, and Celeste Gwynn. And there's tons of other ones that you can follow as well. And she said to pay special attention to page 26 in the success guide. So make sure you check that out. Avoid negativity, like I mentioned earlier, and try not to get involved in controversial posts. Even if you don't necessarily voice your opinion, but just commenting or liking on someone's status that was controversial, people can see that in their feed. And even though you might not necessarily agree with whatever views that they posted, people don't know that. So just kind of try to stay clear of all of that. And then you should post more about your personal life than you should Plexus. So she says if you post 3 times a day, post once about Plexus and twice of your kids, your dog, vacation. Just make sure that you're promoting yourself. And that's your main job, is to promote yourself on Facebook. And people will know that you sell Plexus. You don't have to throw it out there all the time. The best times to post are 8 a.m., noon, and 8 p.m. So you're hitting a little bit of each of the main times of the day. So early morning for people who are going to work and getting ready. Noon maybe for those people who sleep in later, or the lunch crowd. And then 8 p.m. for people once they're getting home from work and unwinding a little bit. And we learned that goldfish actually have a longer attention span than humans. So humans have an 8.25 second attention span, and goldfish have 9 seconds. So make sure you're remembering that in your posts. If you're posting just a status, try to keep it short and sweet. If you're trying to talk about something that's linked somewhere else, leave the link and they'll go there if they're interested. I know we all do this, but don't add your website to any of your posts. They said it's not compliant, apparently, and it just seems salesy. So she mentioned that having that in your About Me section of your Facebook page is good too. So that's just there in case people wander there. They can get your website and go to it. so you're not posting it out there. And then there's also a save post feature on Facebook now. So if you click on a post, like in the right top corner, I think, there's an option with a menu that drops down that says save post. So if you come across something that you saw that you liked, that you saw another Jewel post or someone on the team, instead of having to copy and paste it right away or screenshot it, you can actually save that post and go back to it later, which is really cool. And a really good thing that she mentioned was, if all you're doing is posting on social media and not contacting people directly, all you are is third-party validation to your network. So you're never going to really get those people. I mean, yes, sometimes people reach out to us by seeing what we post, and even if they don't necessarily like or comment. But if you never take that extra step to reach out to someone, then, like I mentioned earlier, somebody else could swoop on in, and because they've already seen you posting about Plexus and they're familiar, that outside person comes in and it says, hey, have you heard of Plexus, blah, blah, blah. And they say, yes, I saw someone posting about it and it's awesome. Can you give me your website? I want to order. So that's an opportunity that you just missed out on. So don't be afraid to contact people, because you never know who will say yes. And then she says, if you're feeling really bold, that you can reach out to people that you know that need the opportunity, either the financial part or just getting healthy. If you're seeing them post on Facebook complaining about their job or how they're constantly tired and they need to lose weight, whatever it is, she says to reach out to people and say, let me tell you why Plexus is exactly what you need right now, which is super bold. So that's a challenge if you want to try that out and see how it works. And then the last thing that she mentioned was that your non-Plexus posts are actually more influential to your network than your Plexus posts are. So think about that. And then Brenda Martin was the last trainer in the silver session, and she talked about your why and belief. If you don't know Brenda's story, I suggest that you watch her Diamond documentary. She has 11 kids. Yes, 11, double digits. She's such a sweet lady. She made me cry once or twice in this. But it goes to show that if anyone can do this and have time, someone with 11 kids who homeschools their kids, she's like the definition of awesome. So look her up. She's really sweet. But she talked about your why and your belief and why your why is so important. And she says that if you want to think long-term, you have to establish your why. So no matter what your goals are, if you just want to make it to Senior Ruby, or if you want to be Emerald, or if you want to go all the way to Diamond, if you want this long-term, you have to establish your why. You need to focus on your why before you focus on your how. So basically you need to know what you're doing to understand the steps that you need to take to get there. And then in order to kind of get your why down and your story, she says to think about, if time or money were no issue, what would your perfect life look like? And breaking your big goals into smaller achievable goals will help you achieve your big goals easier and potentially faster. So say your big goal was to be Emerald by January 2017. And what your smaller goals would look like would essentially be to always want to go silver every month. So continuously adding 3 new people to your team every month could be one of them. Getting your team to promote, things like that. And then she says that your why must carry emotion. And always use present tense words for your goals with Plexus. So for example, not saying, if I ever reach Emerald, I will do this. So she says to say, when I reach Emerald, I will do this. So the way you talk to yourself, your self-talk, the things that you think about greatly affect achieving your goals. And there's a really good book on that too that I can share with you guys. She says, when you're clear with your why, you will be driven by your dream and not fueled by your disappointments, which was something good to think about. And people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So always think about that too. And then she says to step out and act as if, step out and act as if what is happening, and to have belief. And if you're stuck, you might not be believing in yourself enough. So maybe you need to revisit your why, or what you're actually doing in your daily method of operation every day. And then belief doesn't come from success. Success comes from belief. And she went back to say that the men who developed our compensation plan, Tarl, our CEO, and some other gentlemen had been working in network marketing before, and they wanted a better way. So you can always mention that to people too, because they came from a different background. And then the people who join you are the ones who are going to help you make successful, because teamwork makes the dream work. We all know that with Plexus. And she says to go to events, even if it's somebody who's hosting it in a different city, because they're great belief builders. And she said that once she actually went to an opportunity meeting a few cities away, maybe like an hour or so, and she took a friend with her, and her friend actually signed up just because of what was shared at that meeting. So she necessarily didn't host a meeting, but she attended one. And the fact that she was talking to her friend about Plexus and then taking her to see this kind of proved as a third-party validation. So that was basically all the Silvers training. I feel like I've talked a lot. And then I'm just going to end with the new things that are coming around the bend. I'm sure you probably have gotten emails about this or seen them posted on the team page. But the Consistency Club, you should have probably gotten an email about that. Basically, there's a 300 club and a 500 club. The goal is to have at least 300 or 500 PV every month. The 300 club, I believe you have to have 3 established customers and add 1 new customer each month. And the 500 club is to have 5 existing customers and to add, I think, 3 new customers each month, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong with that. And you can always refer to the email too. But something cool for Leaders Retreat, so which that contest started June 1st. So Club 300 or Club 500, so the contest for Leaders Retreat is June, July, and August. And if you qualify in either of those clubs, and you qualify to go to Leaders Retreat with the 750 points, you will get an upgraded VIP ticket, which is really huge. So that's something to kind of help work your business a little bit more and give you incentives. And there's also some prizes that you'll get if you're, I think, we qualify in the club 8 out of the 9 or 8 out of the 12 months until next convention. But we can always go into more detail, and I think they'll probably maybe have a call about that on the team page too. Another exciting thing, next day shipping is coming in the fall, which is freaking awesome. I'm not sure if it'll be an extra charge versus what shipping currently costs now, but there will be, along with that will be a more accurate email tracking system. So you'll actually get an email. I know we get emails now as soon as your order is received, as soon as your order is packaged, as soon as your order is shipped, and then once your order actually is delivered to you as well. And then live chat is coming by the end of the year, which is exciting. And I don't know if any of you have tried to call customer service recently, but the wait times are like under 2 minutes, which is huge. And there's also now a customer specific line when you call into customer service. So I think it either asks you to dial 1 if you're a customer, 2 if you're an ambassador, or maybe it's vice versa, but that's good. So they have people who are specifically trained to either help with customer issues or ambassador issues. And then you saw the shareables in the back office for Edge and Block, and they're going to be developing a lot more of those for the other products too. And you've already seen they've done a revamp of the website, which is causing a few issues with our personal sites, but hopefully that'll be fixed soon. And we're going to be leading with a mobile website, which is huge because like 80% of people access internet, social media, everything from their phones. And there was one more thing. Oh, so we always push self-development and reading books and everything because it helps you grow as a leader and also helps you within working your business and learning how to talk to people and how to talk to yourself. But Plexus is establishing a subscription to Success. I think it's Success Magazine or Success Online, but basically it has a whole library of self-development books. There's audiobooks, videos, and it's all free of charge. To any Plexus ambassador can use it. And I think starting in July, they're going to do different topics each month and kind of give you a guide of what books and stuff to read based on those topics. So I forget what July is, but I think August is like focusing on financial goals and stuff. You don't necessarily have to follow the guide, but they thought it would be easier instead of people trying to dive in and trying to figure out what they should read first. So I think that's everything that I had. Questions, anyone? You can unmute yourselves if you want now. No questions? Okay, I'll stop.